You're zipping your suitcase the night before the cruise when it hits you. The travel iron is sitting right there on the bed, packed automatically the way you always pack it for hotels. And then you wonder, can you actually bring that? You pull up the cruise line's prohibited items list, scroll down, keep scrolling. The iron, yes, banned, but also candles, certain power strips, hoverboards, a type of glasses frame, Bluetooth speakers depending on the line, something called an EPIRB, an emergency position indicating radio beacon that you've never heard of and can only assume is serious. The list goes on longer than you expected. Some of it makes obvious sense, some of it feels genuinely arbitrary, and a small part of you starts to wonder whether the cruise line simply invented these rules to make your life harder. Here's what's actually inside that list and why almost all of it comes down to the same single thing. When you arrive at the pier the next morning, every bag you have, checked and carry on both, goes through airport-style X-ray screening before you walk up the gangway. The security team on the other side has genuine authority. The chief security officer and the staff captain make the final call on any item flagged as questionable. This isn't theater. The ship's security apparatus is making actual operational judgments, and in certain categories, those judgments are binding. The checkpoint you're standing at is newer than most passengers realize. Before 2002, cruise embarkation had no formal systematic screening framework. Basic baggage checks existed at some ports, but mandatory standardized embarkation screening, the airport-style gate you just walked through, simply didn't exist yet. The Maritime Transportation Security Act in 2002 and the ISPS Code, the International Ship and Port Facility Security Code, the international framework that standardized port and vessel security worldwide, didn't take full effect until July 2004. The checkpoint you just passed through is roughly 20 years old. So what's on the list now, and why does any of it make sense? Most passengers assume the banned list is a patchwork, some items for safety, some for liability, some because a corporate lawyer got cautious one afternoon. That assumption is reasonable. The list is long and, at first glance, genuinely inconsistent. An iron and hoverboard feel like they belong to entirely different problem categories. A candle and an EPIRB seem to have nothing in common. But walk through the appliance and electrical entries carefully and something starts to emerge. The iron, the clothes skimmer, the candle, the hookah pipe, the cooking fuel, the flammable aerosol, the heating element of any kind, the lithium battery device with unverified certification. Look at all of them together. Fire is not a hotel problem on a cruise ship. On land, you call 911 and help arrives in minutes. At sea, you are the help, and the nearest port could be a full day away. The ship carries sophisticated fire suppression systems, but the corridors are enclosed, the cabins are stacked, there are thousands of people aboard, and fire moves through that sealed geometry in ways it simply doesn't on land. Maritime insurance industry data puts fire and explosion at roughly 18% of total claim value across the sector, the single most expensive cause of marine loss by a meaningful margin. The industry is not casual about this. Which means the iron ban and the hoverboard ban and the candle ban are at their root the same ban. Whatever the specific item, if it has a heating element, can produce a flame, or runs on an unverified battery, it earns a spot on the list. The hoverboard wave of 2015 and 2016 followed that same logic. Lithium batteries were catching fire in living rooms, warehouses, and on aircraft. CPSC recalls were going out, and cruise lines moved nearly simultaneously with airlines to prohibit them. Same threat, new product, same underlying rule. Now, there is one category where that logic doesn't apply, and the cruise line essentially tells you so. Alcohol. Most lines ban outside liquor and beer entirely. Many allow one bottle of wine or champagne per person at embarkation, and that's it. The reason has nothing to do with fire, navigation, or safety of any kind. The ship sells alcohol. Your bottles compete with that revenue. The cruise line's own policy language doesn't really pretend otherwise. It's a revenue protection measure, stated almost plainly. Every other ban has a safety rationale. This one has a business rationale. Oddly, that makes it the most honest entry on the entire list. Which naturally raises the question most people are sitting with by now. What actually happens when security finds something in your pack? Your bag gets flagged on the X-ray and pulled for inspection. If the item is prohibited, you receive a prohibited items receipt, a documented record of what was taken and instructions for retrieving it. Most items, including knives, drones, hoverboards, and some alcohol, are held by the security office for the voyage and returned to you at debarkation before you leave the terminal. The line is drawing a deliberate distinction between dangerous right now and we simply can't let this run loose on the ship. Most people assume confiscated means gone forever. Usually it doesn't. Some categories don't come back. Firearms and ammunition, illegal drugs, flammable liquids, explosives, those are permanently confiscated, and certain items can involve law enforcement. The system is calibrated by category, not by stated intent. If you packed a travel iron out of habit and genuinely had no idea, you hand it over, get a receipt, board, and pick it up on the last day. Nobody treats you like a threat. Cannabis is a completely different register. Ships operate under federal jurisdiction regardless of which state you departed from, and federal law doesn't recognize state-level legality. That's not a misunderstanding at the gate situation, and the system knows the difference clearly. Here's the part of the list most passengers never think about. The banned items list wasn't written once in 2004 and filed away. Every item on it arrived because something happened. A new product category entered the world, proved itself to be a problem on a ship, and got added. The list is reactive by design. Hoverboards barely existed before 2015. Within roughly a year of the lithium battery fires becoming a documented crisis, house fires, warehouse fires, CPSC recalls, cruise lines and airlines moved to ban them at almost exactly the same moment. A product had to be invented, catch fire, and earn a prohibition within about 12 months. Travel routers, small portable devices passengers use to share a single internet purchase across multiple devices, didn't appear on cruise prohibited lists until September 2024 at Carnival and December 2024 at Royal Caribbean. Passengers had been using them to clone the ship's internet package across multiple devices, undercutting the per-device pricing structure, and in some cases creating network interference the ship's systems couldn't easily isolate. New behavior, new problem, new entry. Smart glasses, frames with built-in video and audio recording capability, appeared on prohibited lists at MSC in December 2024 and were addressed at Royal Caribbean in early 2026. The concern is covert recording in spaces where passengers and crew reasonably expect privacy: the spa, the locker room, the casino. That's a privacy issue, not a fire issue. A genuinely new category of threat absorbed into the same living document. The newest items on the list tell you what the industry is currently solving for. You're not reading a static rulebook, you're reading a record of what the ship has had to learn. Every sailing, thousands of bags pass through that X-ray belt. The security team sees the irons packed out of habit, the forgotten candles, the travel routers, the occasional item that opens a more serious conversation. By the time your bag flags for a steamer, the officer has seen it before. The receipt gets written out, you collect your boarding pass and walk up the gangway. Check the list the night you pack, not at the pier. Most of it makes immediate sense once you see the single logic threading through it. The wine for the balcony is fine. 1 bottle per person, embarkation day only. Just leave the iron behind. The prohibited items list is not a patchwork of corporate rules. It is a log of everything a ship has ever had to reckon with, and a live record of everything the world keeps inventing next. That's another one for the cruise files. If you want to learn more about what goes on behind the giant cruise ships, everything from the scams on board to the secrets below deck, subscribe, like, and share. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.